What's up guys, it's Melon here again. This time we're doing another retake on the FCC video. So earlier we did a following Cecilia video describing what she's good for, when you bring her, where you bring her to, and just the different builds she have, right? But recently there's some big changes that's been happening, and Smilegate made aware of it, right? So now we're really doing the video and telling you the new reasons to draft her, what we could do differently, and what we should do with her, right? Okay, so first we're gonna say the builds that we could really go off with. First off, you can really build her, like, we're gonna go our build last because I think this is still one of the better builds to do. But we're gonna go with one of the uncommon builds first, with a crit damage bruiser build. So some people like to go more of a slower FCC, like 220 to 200 speed, and just high crit chance and more crit damage, right? So this FCC is more just to do damage and to just like give your DPS units a barrier, right? So all your units have a barrier, just a solid protection. At the same time, she herself can do damage, right? So her S3 scales off 83%. So she's easily a hard-hitting unit, right? So her S3 gives all your units a skill modifier. Skill modifier means that it just blocks a single attack, right? You can still get debuff, but it just blocks and negates the attack. And the damage dealt is increased proportional to the caster's max HP. That means that max HP really scales off well of just intentionally crit damage. So your crit damage and your HP scaling just really works well together, right? So people really like to do this decent like 23, 24k HP FCC, a bit slower than mine, 220ish, maybe even slower, and just crit chance, crit damage, right? So this is just to like help cleave, right? So you can do like a lot of like RB Flandy. There's a lot of teams that just really have a lot of AoE cleaving, and the fact that people really bring S10, right? So now that FCC can also chip in a bit of damage, chip in a bit of AoE damage, FCC can really just help out and just like deal out the extra damage, right? That's why people bring like Portrait on Ally Crow or the Guild War artifact that does extra damage, right? Symbol of Unity. So that's why people also do I even seen Symbol of Unity FCC, but this is more of a rare build for really extremely extremely aggressive players, extremely aggros. Usually I've seen a lot of Asia players do this near the end, where they just have like just DPS everything, right? DPS General Purgus, DPS FCC, DPS Ally Crow. They just try to night cleave you with full crit damage build, right? It's really interesting, but I don't really recommend this. It's a one and done thing, right? It works the first time. When they do it the second time, it won't work, right? You kind of know what's coming. You kind of expect what's coming, right? These are the players that just win with a niche, with a cheese, right? And the cheeses can only get you so far, right? Because Rush, you don't play once and done, right? You're not done after one game. You have to spam during Rush, and when you spam and people are constantly spamming against you and they find you out your playstyle, it's gonna be a bit rough. Okay. So the next build is just kind of for like an arena build, or just to like really safely protect your backline or your S10 or Landy, right? This build is you put your FCC at 30k HP ish, maybe even higher, depending on how good your gear is, how cracked your gear is. But they usually go like 200 speed, just low speed, no crit chance, no crit damage, just 30k HP, right? They do this build so that they can really give a really thick barrier to your support, right, units, right? So meaning that FCC is S2, right? Grants a barrier for 2 turns to all allies at the start of battle, and grants a barrier for 2 turns to the ally with the lowest health at the end of the caster's turn. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's max HP. So in general, the higher your HP is, the bigger the barrier is, right? During that beginning of turn, and every time she takes a turn. So in theory is, they try to cleave you, but they can't really kill your S10 in time, right? They don't really have enough damage to really, they run out of steam, right? Let's say they can't follow through. So now that your S10 is barely alive with like a chunk of HP, this barrier on S10 will be like super thick. It'll be like 3k barrier. So now that this extra barrier on S10 means that she'll never die, right? Because they'll never have the extra follow up to just kill her. It's kind of how people play this in arena, right? So people really have to like to have a thick barrier, so that can't be cleaved, right? Just to make it a bit harder for them. Another way to build FCC is there's actually 4 ways to build it. I forgot to mention this in the last video. But a way that people build for Guild Wars is they make her kind of like a regular FCC. So they'll go something like 26k HP FCC, 220 speed. But what they do is they add in like 120 effect, 150 effect, so that they can really. So this is just for Guild Wars, guys. Just for Guild Wars, they really could provoke her well, right? So really a good way to deal. Just in general, FCC is one of the best Guild Wars defense units. What people will really bring is like T-Sir and FCC +1, right? That means there's T-Sir and silence, there's T-Sir and unbuffable, and FCC will lock down your roll so that your roll can't heal, can't revive, right? So this really puts your team in a spot where you're just getting controlled. That's why people run a really high effectiveness FCC in Guild Wars, just to really, Guild War defense in general, just to really throw you off the loop and just catch you off guard, right? It happens a lot, and it really catches it really does get wins, right? Especially in towers. When towers are kind of there just to spook you and surprise you, it really could just get a win and win you that kill wars if your defense gets that extra win, right? So yeah, so first we have the Bruiser FCC, second we have the Tank FCC, third we have the Effectiveness FCC, and the last one for me was the Speed FCC. So this FCC, okay, so before this change happened, I'm gonna tell you what happened first. So Smilegate made a notice where how strip works now is that strip is now based on left to right, right? Before we thought any strip was randomized. Then after that we found that strip was only left. Strip was always barrier for units that were slower than FCC, and you only lose the strip. You only lose your barrier if your units are slower than FCC, and if you lose the immunity when your units are faster than FCC. So we found this out, and then we made a whole fuss about it, and we had people clarify it from Smilegate's side. So okay, in theory, let me explain. If your FCC is faster than your team will never be stripped from their immunity from, like, let's say from F Tenebria, Fairytale Tenebria, Athletica, and Sage Bow, right? Units like that who have a one strip, your units will never lose their immunity if your FCC is faster than your team. But the opposite side is if your team is faster than FCC, they'll always lose that immunity. So we thought it was always RNG. Now we tested it and we experimented. We found that this is correct. We theory crafted it. We tested it and everything. Community managers even from Smilegate confirmed it. But now they're going with a new notice where strips will always happen from left to right now. So I'm not sure if this means that your speed doesn't matter anymore. I'm not sure if you're faster, the barrier gets applied first, then your immunity gets applied after. I mean this by saying, since FCC is the fastest unit on your team, right? That means she gives the barrier to your units first before their own immunity happens on them, right? So that means their immunity be the first, their immunity be on the left. Their immunity be on the right and their barrier be on the left. If you understand what I'm trying to say here. Let me clarify one more time. So since FCC is the fastest unit on the field, the barrier should apply first before their own units apply their own immunity, right? So the first buff on the left will be barrier, and the first buff should be on the right should be immunity. Sorry, I'm scuffing it a bit, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. This is how it should work, but I'm not sure if this is how it's going to be applied. Because Smilegate is saying buffs are going to be cleansed in strips based on how PvE works, right? We're not too sure. I'm not too sure what they mean by this. So we're really in a different we're in for a lot of surprise, right? This is kind of meta changing. I'm not too sure if buffs are applied randomly. I'm not sure if you guys know, but if you guys do know, fill me in on the details, right? So this really changed how FCC is gonna work. I'm not sure if this is gonna be the best build no more, but currently this is my build. 27k HP, 245 speed. I did this build because yes, I wanted my FCC faster than my team, right? So that they never lose their immunity against F Tenebria or something, right? But now with this new change, I'm not sure if we need FCC this fast anymore. The speed was just there to really provide extra protection, right? But now that if it is random, if our buffs are applied always barriers first, or we're not sure how the buffs are being applied no more, maybe the best build is to be a bit tankier and slow down, right? Like the tank FCC again. I'm not really too sure how they're really gonna make this work. We really just gonna have to wait and see how they really apply this. But yeah, it's Smilegate, right? We're not too sure how they're gonna do everything. In general, FCC is still gonna be a great unit at the end of the day. One of the best units in the game. Great in every type of content. Maybe besides PvE, but amazing in RTA, top tier in RTA, top tier in arena, top tier in guild defense. FCC is one of the most broken units out there, and there's just no reason to not to use it, right? In general, let me explain one last thing, guys. So when you use FCC, always make sure you have a plus 29 auras, unless you don't have Blue Crow or another auras user, right? The reason why we have this plus 29 auras on our FCC, because we always want our Blue Crow to take the auras damage shared. So whenever you draft Blue Crow and FCC together, if your FCC ever takes the aura share damage, you're in a heck of a lot of trouble, right? That means your Blue Crow could never get his horse off if you won't be damage sharing. You always want his Blue Crow with the higher auras level, so that his auras will take priority, right? So your auras on Blue Crow is plus 30, and your FCC is plus 29. So once again, Blue Crow will always take the auras damage. Guys, this is quite important and very crucial because we've seen a lot of players lose like this. We've seen legend players lose tournament because of this. This is just in general something simple and easily applicable, and just not much work to do, right? And yes, the defense percent on allies do not stack. Keep that in mind, guys. I tested it and the defense percent does not stack. Why not adamant on FCC if you're running both Blue Crow and FCC? It's just because you're never gonna really know when you're drafting both of them together And just in general, FCC is one of the best units to have Aureus on, right? Anyways, guys, this is Melon. If you have any questions about any more questions about FCC in general, just let me know. Put it down in the comments. I'll respond. You know, guys, I always got you. I'll always respond for you guys. Anything with artillery related, I got you guys. Alright, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care out there, guys. I'll see you guys around.